Hey all, here at OS Reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at the TaoTronics SoundLiberty 88. So recently we also checked out the SoundLiberty 92s, which I really liked for having a very clean and solid design as well as a very good sound for a low price. And although the model number seems higher on the 92, the 88 actually has a few advantages of its own. So it's not necessarily saying that this is the newer model. It's another budget option that sells for under 40 bucks. In fact, the 88 is a little bit cheaper by about $5 less compared to the 92, and specs are quite similar on paper, including battery life of around 5 hours for the buds themselves, and then the battery case will give you an additional 25 hours for a combined total of around 30 hours when on the road. Also keeps the same IP rating of IPX8, so you can use them in the rain when you're sweating and they will still survive. Packaging contents are also very similar, including an instruction manual, quick start guide, and a USB Type-C cable for charging, and once again it supports quick charging, so you can charge it for 5 minutes to give you up to an hour of music listening. In terms of design for the battery case, I think the 88s are a bit more conventional compared to the 92s, which I think have a slightly more elegant look to it, but also because the battery case of the 88, the physical size, is a little bit larger, as you can see here in terms of dimensions, despite the fact that they both have the same capacity. So this feels a bit more dense. Now we have just the Type-C port for charging on the side there, and that is pretty much it. The door here is once again magnetic, along with LEDs on the bottom, which will illuminate to tell you how much charge is remaining in the case. So each LED represents about 25%. It opens and closes with a very satisfactory click. Similar to the 92s, they are held into place magnetically, they can be easily removed, and once again it houses a semi-in-ear design just like the Apple AirPods. What that means is these are very comfortable in terms of wearing them even for a few hours at a time. There's less stress inside of your ears because there's no kind of silicone tip, but at the same time they're not quite as noise isolating. The size of the stem is also very close to the Apple AirPods, and the shape overall as well as weight are also very comparable. In fact, it's a little closer, I think, compared to the 92s, which had a slightly more angular shape to the fact that there's a slight protrusion for where the battery is located compared to the 88, which is completely flush, as you can see there. However, whereas the 92 here had more of an interesting finish, which was shiny and kind of chrome edged. This one is a much more conventional matte black, which doesn't attract as many fingerprints, but at the same time is not as flashy looking. On the front, we still have access to a touch sensitive area that you can use to play and pause the music. Once again, you can tap once to raise the volume higher or lower, which is really nice to see, and you can also play and pause by double tapping as well as skip tracks. Now notably on the 88s compared to the 92s is we have a larger section for the microphone. In fact, that's one of the areas which this model focuses on a bit more, is for call quality versus the integrated one on the 92. The other special feature of the 88, which the 92s don't have, is a proximity light sensor that you can see here. It's an auto play and pause function, so they can detect when you're actually wearing them versus removing them from your ears. So once removed, the music will automatically pause, and then once you pop them back in, the music will automatically resume. It's a pretty neat feature that, again, the AirPods also share. You can see by that sensor, which the 92s are emitting. The drivers are a bit different. The 88s focuses more on call quality, so it has a sharper as well as a slightly more emphasized mids and trebles. It actually has a 10mm driver, which is a bit more conventional, compared to the 92s, which had a larger 13mm, which had better bass and a wider soundstage. So I will say that the 92s, in my opinion, have a slightly better, more dynamic sound. So speaking of talking about the audio quality in a bit more detail, overall these are not shabby at all, especially for budget pairs. More than anything, they sound very clean, just like the 92s. You can play and pause the music, you can turn the volume down, and you won't hear any hissing or distortion in the background. Although bass is not really the highest here, you can still notice a hint if you are listening to a drum beat, and at the same time, again, mids do sound very nuanced as well as clean, with plenty of details also in trebles that make it sound great, again, for vocals as well as instrumentals. Connectivity wise, we are talking about a Realtek chip that supports SBC and AAC audio codecs, but there is no Qualcomm aptX support, which is just like the 92s. So the absolute latency won't be the lowest for things like gaming, for example, but for casual music listening as well as for watching videos on YouTube, which have been optimized to work better with wireless wireless buds, the overall experience is very good. And basically once you pop them out of the case, they pretty much instantly pair with your phone, so the connection process is also very seamless and fast. So that's more or less it for our hands-on review of the SoundLiberty 88 from TaoTronics. Again, it's part of the low-cost SoundLiberty series of wireless buds from the company, and compared to the 92, highlights here include an autoplay and pause feature and slightly better mics for answering phone calls, although the driver size has been reduced. And at the end of the day, if you're someone that makes more calls and you're doing more talking, I think this is going to be the model to prioritize. On the other hand, if you're someone that likes to listen more to just pure music, in addition to not really caring about having that autoplay and pause feature, you want a smaller case, then that's where the 92 might have a slight edge. So depending on your preferences, I think they're both very strong options for under 40 bucks. You can check out more details if you're interested in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.